Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours with the Patels. As you're joining us, go ahead and tell us where you're watching from today.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's right. Drop in the comments where you are chiming in with us this morning. We're going to jump right in and have a discussion answering many of your questions that we've been receiving. And let us just say thank you so much for dropping those questions so that we can have insight for you as it relates to chaplaincy. So the questions have been really centered around what it actually means to be a chaplain, what do chaplains actually do, and where do they serve and or work professionally. And that really does matter because many of our leaders are carrying responsibility without clear language, without structure and or preparation. And so a lot of people hear the word chaplain and they automatically think priest, they automatically think mosque or church ministry, but chaplains actually serve in many places and environments. And so that's what we're going to address today.
Yes, chaplains serve in places like hospitals, hospice care, corporate workplaces, crisis response teams, community organization. So this morning, we're going to answer some of the questions people have been sending us about chaplaincy.
Amazing. And we're really excited. These questions are very interesting and kind of fun. So if you have a question about chaplaincy or spiritual care or how this works actually, how it functions in a real life setting, maybe you're not as familiar with chaplaincy as someone else, I want you to feel free to drop those questions in the comments below. And if we're not able to get to them today, we will address them on another office hour. So let's go ahead and jump in with that first question.
Also, if you're joining us live, type live in the comments.
All right. So, first question. Thank you, Lisa. We're going to ask Pastor Cam this question. What does a chaplain actually do?
Well, chaplains basically provide spiritual and emotional care in circumstances and situations. They serve people in difficult or transitional moments to be able to deal with things. Their role is presence, stability, and guidance. That's what we need for every one of us. A chaplain's role is not to fix people. Sometimes that's what we get in the market. We need to fix this problem or person or situation. That's not the case. It is to provide a steady spiritual presence when life becomes overwhelming.
All right. Thank you so much to provide a steady presence. That is amazing. All right. So I'll let you go ahead with the next question.
Renee said, where do chaplains serve professionally?
Great question, Renee. Chaplains serve in many places, and there really is no limitation where chaplains can serve. It's directly dependent on the organization, the company, the region, the facility that needs care for people. Typically, you will see chaplains in some of the most common places, which would be hospitals or hospice care facilities. You'll see chaplains in corporate America. You'll see, and I'll say corporate America, but corporate period, you'll see chaplains because this is not a national limitation. This is an international opportunity. You'll see chaplains in prison ministries or prison environments. You'll see chaplains wherever there is a crisis response. You'll see chaplains in places like schools, and you'll definitely see chaplains serving in community organizations. So many people are surprised just how many environments chaplains really do serve and or work in.
Awesome. If you're just joining us, we're talking about what chaplains actually do and where they serve professionally.
Right. And I want to tell you, go ahead and get your coffee. This is a relaxed environment where we're just answering your questions and just enjoy the time. Now, let's get to that next question. We have David here. His question is, what types of organizations actually hire chaplains today? Great questions. There are many organizations that hire chaplains, as I just said. In fact, we did a live earlier this week where we reviewed 2 real life chaplain positions on LinkedIn that were live and active and ready to be applied for. To my surprise, the applications, there were not a lot of applications. I believe one of the positions was a corporate chaplain, the other one was a hospice chaplain, and one of them only had like 15 applications. And on that LinkedIn at the time, there were over 1,000, and it could have been thousands of positions for chaplains. So chaplains, again, organizations like hospitals and healthcare systems, hospice organizations, corporate workplaces, government agencies, crisis response organizations, for example, FEMA, or I'm drawing a blank on one of the companies, very big company, Red Cross, correctional institutions, universities, and schools. And one we always forget to mention, the fire department
Yes.
has chaplains as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So chaplaincy is not limited to hospitals or churches. In fact, most churches don't even have chaplains or don't have a setup for chaplains. But many organizations now recognize the value of having trained spiritual care professionals in a high stress environment. All right, our next question is from Michael. And he says, what does a hospital chaplain's job description typically include? You want to go ahead and take that one?
Sure. So typically providing spiritual and emotional support to patients and families to be able to comfort them, to be able to encourage them, responding to crisis situations when things happen, supporting staff during difficult events, especially difficult events. They need assistance, facilitating prayer or spiritual conversation when requested, respecting diverse beliefs and backgrounds. Hospital chaplains work closely with medical teams and care staff to make sure that everything works smoothly and flows the right tempo and pace.
I love the fact that we say respecting the diverse beliefs and
Yes.
backgrounds of people. That is so important in chaplaincy, and specifically interfaith chaplaincy, where you're
Yes.
working in these settings. You cannot come in and proselytize. You cannot come in and dominate with your faith or your belief systems. Now, you use wisdom, because he who wins souls must be wise.
Yes.
So there are moments where you can share your faith and your beliefs, but you have to be skilled at being able to respect another individual's belief. And then you have chaplains who will only serve certain people in religions. Like, they don't want to serve outside of their own faith, and that is okay. But if you are going to be an interfaith chaplain, meaning you can service anyone within a, I'll say in our case, within a Christian type of faith base, then that is something you have to keep in mind, to respect the family's personal beliefs, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to our last question, possibly. We have a few more questions, but we want to wrap this up because office hours is a short time.
Awesome. Angela says, what qualification do most organizations look for when hiring chaplains? Excellent question.
Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good
Yes.
one. Now, Angela, what I want you to do is go back and watch the live that we did on what do chaplains do when they don't have answers, and where do they serve? That's on our YouTube page as well as here on Facebook. I want you to watch that because we actually went through some requirements and qualifications for 2 specific jobs. But I'll just kind of wrap it up here. So formal chaplaincy does require training and certification, right? Formal chaplaincy does require training and certification. And we say the word formal because there are many people, especially spiritual leaders, ministers, people that are in a faith community, who actually provide chaplain-like services without the credentials, without the official training, and without the certification. So formal chaplaincy requires training and certification. You must understand ethical boundaries. Any setting that you're going to go into professionally, they're going to have their own set of codes of ethics that you must be able to abide by. They're going to have their own set of boundaries that you must be able to abide by. Then there is a level of training in emotional intelligence and my favorite, listening skills, because how many of us in a faith community talk more than we listening? All right, so those are a few of the qualifications. You must have the ability to work within a professional environment, and that's basic. And then obviously there's training around confidentiality and consent. There's training around documentation. You don't just go in and pray with people or sit with people without documentation and being able to summarize what that person has been experiencing or feeling or parts of conversation. So many organizations also value experience in spiritual leadership or counseling. So if you have a background in counseling, and if you are, I cannot stress this enough, especially if you are a pastor who does not have a background in counseling, a background in some type of human resource field or human health field, then it would be beneficial for you if you're not seeking higher education to pursue some type of training and certification in chaplaincy. And if you do not have a counseling team or staff or something of that nature, it can only help and enhance your ministry. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a shameless plug in here. We've had a number of students really, and even our instructors who have extensive background in chaplaincy, rant and rave about our curriculum and how impactful it is on spiritual leaders. So organizations want to know that the person entering vulnerable spaces is prepared, is ethical, and is trustworthy. And let me just tell you, those things are not automatic for everyone. It can help to be trained and skilled and certified in those areas to enhance what you may already have inside of you. All right, so what do we have next?
So we want to find out, where do you see chaplaincy growing in the future?
So this is one of the first things I researched when we made the decision to go all in on chaplaincy as a life work. One of the things I wanted to know is where is chaplaincy going to land in the future, especially considering the economics of our current world, the mental health state of our current world, and just so many things. And really, to be honest, there is an increasing demand for emotional and spiritual care in high stress environments. Thank you so much for joining us, Miss Lady Delphine Woodard, stalwart. We appreciate you joining us. And those that are watching the replay, we want you to go ahead and drop your question or your comment below as well. We don't want to forget you. But I do see an increasing demand based on research for emotional and spiritual care. There is expansion in workplaces, community programs, and crisis response. There has been an expansion for chaplaincy presence, even in corporate America. There is a whole segment in corporate America called well-being. Wellness and well-being, and then there is a segment where many organizations are partnering well-being with spiritual care. And so there's definitely seems to be a greater need for leaders who are trained to care ethically and responsibly. And that word ethically and responsibly, we tend to leave that off when we're doing traditional ministry, but in a professional environment, those are key words. Those are power words, ethical and responsibly. When you're going to pray with a person as a chaplain, you must be ethical and responsible, not just spiritual, right? So chaplaincy is becoming more visible as institutions recognize the value for trained spiritual care providers. Because guess what? When people go to work, most people, some people, hopefully everyone, they don't leave their faith at the door as they go into their jobs.
Yep.
Right? So wherever people go, they take their spiritual nature or their spiritual faith, their spiritual makeup with them. And so companies are recognizing that people need their whole man serviced and cared for. So we're entering a time where organizations are realizing that people they don't leave their emotional or their spiritual needs when they show up, and so chaplaincy helps care for those persons as well. And that's one of the reasons why Life Training Academy was not only started and created, but continues to build, continues to expand, because we recognize that there is a need to help prepare leaders for the growing need for wise spiritual care. That's our time today. Thank you so much for joining us and stopping by this live. And we look forward to seeing you the next time around. If today's conversation has been helpful to you, this is what I want you to do. I want you to type helpful right down in the comments. And yeah.
So before we close, I want to say this. Many of the questions people ask about chaplaincy are really about questions about preparation, not so much the details or anything else, but how do I prepare for what I'm called to do? Caring for people in difficult moments is a meaningful work, obviously, right? But it also carries responsibilities.
Yeah, so if you feel drawn to chaplaincy, to caring for people at a higher level, a more professional level, then I want you to go ahead. There's a QR code on the screen and there's a website at the bottom. You can scan that code. It'll take you to the website where all of the details are there. You can go to the website at the bottom of the screen and review the details about our chaplaincy program. Orientation drops on March 23rd, and classes actually begin on March 30th. So do not delay. We have a little bit close to 2 weeks left for
Yes.
enrollment.
Mhm.
So you can apply. That's the first step. Go ahead and get that application in. Even if you're not sure, submit the application so it can be reviewed right away, and then enroll. Once your application is approved, you'll be able to enroll and begin your classes on March 30th, and your classes are on demand. So you don't have to show up at a specific time every week or every month. You can begin your classes on March 30th right away and take them at your own pace. But do not delay. Do not wait to the last minute. We know this program is not for everyone, so our team needs time to review your application and make sure that you are a good fit for the chaplaincy training and certification program. It's been great spending this time with you,
Yes,
and
yes.
we will see you next time.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, if we can just get the window closed.